Welcome to my channel Shadows of History. Was Anne of Cleves unsightly and smelly? Anne of Cleves 1515 to 1557. And was born in Dusseldorf in 1515 and became Henry VIII's fourth wife in 1540, January 6th, July 12th. After the death of Jane Seymour Henry and his chief minister Thomas Cromwell sought to make a political alliance with a German Protestant state, after Henry's break with Rome and the Catholic faith. Hans Holbein was commissioned to paint a likeness of Anne of Cleves. Henry then agreed to the marriage. The marriage was never consummated and annulled within 6 months. Henry was disappointed with, and he found her reserved demeanor and lack of court grace and knowledge unattractive. The famous quote referring to Anne as the Flanders mare was probably a reference to Anne's simply Germanic ways, unsophisticated and perhaps common in Henry's eyes. However, Hans Holbein was never punished or accused of misrepresenting Anne in his portrait, and there is no evidence to suggest Henry found Anne ugly or smelly. In fact, Anne is described as tall and slim, fair-haired and having a lovely face, and highly intelligent. Henry was 48 when he married and she was 24. The truth of the matter is Henry's health was deteriorating by now and he was probably suffering from impotency, hence the unconsummated marriage. I think he simply had to blame someone for this condition, and was shrewd enough to accept the annulment and a very generous settlement including Richmond Palace and Hever Castle, and was treated far better than, for instance, Henry's first wife Catherine of Aragon, and certainly better than Anne Boleyn or Catherine Howard. Once the annulment was settled, Henry decided he actually liked and very much referring to her as his beloved sister. He often visited her where they would talk and play parlor games and in turn and frequently attended court, and never remarried and remained a wealthy woman in her own right. She established good relationships with both Henry's daughters Mary and Elizabeth. She attended Mary's coronation, and was generally seen as a courteous, gentle, generous employer to her servants, which she asked Mary and Elizabeth to look after in her will, and outlived Henry VIII and all of Henry's other 5 wives, and died in 1557 aged 42, probably of cancer. I personally think Anne of Cleves was the most fortunate of Henry's wives, and was neither ugly or probably smelly, well, no more than anyone else was in the Tudor period. Footnote: Henry VIII died in 1547, and died a Catholic. Thomas Cromwell was executed in 1540, the year Henry married Anne of Cleves. Someone always pays the price. Thanks for listening.